opening up the UFC Kansas City fight card, we got Chelsea Chandler taking on Joselyne Edwards. This is one of many fights where the line has slowly been moving. This card has a couple of wild lines, but for the most part, I feel like the betting lines are pretty accurate overall. And what we have seen is some steady movement on all of them. We have not seen the dramatic leaps. And this is one of those fights where there is some steady movement, and it does make sense to me. We have Chelsea Chandler, 6-3 in her career, 3-2 in her last 5. She is coming off that decision loss to Yana Santos. And she's taking on Joselyne Edwards, 14-6 in her career, 3-2 in her last 5. She's coming off that decision win over Tamiris Vidal. Both of these women are big. Neither one of them have done a very good job making weight as of late. Chelsea Chandler missed weight by 5 pounds in her last fight. She is big. She's pretty well-rounded skill-wise, but she's slow. She's fee-fi-fo-fum-ish, but she'll move forward, try to get you to the cage, drag you to the ground if she can. She's got that Stockton attitude. She doesn't really give a shit. She'll get into a fist fight. She's not usually the better fighter, but she has no problem fighting, except for the time that she literally ran away. She's taking on Joselyne Edwards. Joselyne Edwards is a pretty good kickboxer. She uses range well. Good variety of strikes. She does prefer to kick. If you literally totaled the count of strikes, you're going to get more kicks and punches out of her, and she'll use those to manage range. She'll work the body. She does get inside the pocket, try to make it a dirty fight if she can. The knock on her has been her takedown defense, which could be a problem here because big old Chelsea Chandler is going to march forward, try to drag her to the ground, but she seems to be closing those gaps. She just came off of that win over Tamiris Vidal, which I believe was the 4th time she missed weight. Neither one of these women do a great job making weight, and I'm sure the UFC is just looking forward to cutting one of them after a loss potentially here. Chelsea, big as hell. They look the same size on paper. When I get to the next slide for Jacob's part, you're going to see the height, the reach, the size. They're going to look the same size. Chelsea is much, much larger. I expect Joselyne to be faster, more mobile, stay in the outside, piece her up. And I think literally speed is going to be the difference. So I am picking Joselyne Edwards because I think she's faster and I think she's more well-rounded. But if Chelsea Chandler is just enormous and moves forward and leans on Joselyne, she could just get a boring win out of this. But this should be Joselyne Edwards. This should be a decision. And I do have 2 parlays here. I have one with Joselyne straight up. I'll give you the second half when we get there. And then I have a parlay with the over 2.5, and I'll give you the second half when we get there. What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, I like that over 2.5. Both these girls are kind of sluggish in the way they fight. Neither one's a crazy finisher. I do think that Joselyne is better everywhere. And unless Chelsea Chandler has kind of figured out what she wants to do with girls once she gets her to the clinch, she's going to lose this fight. I mean, unless Joselyne just randomly ends up on her back for 2 rounds, which I don't think is going to happen because Chelsea loves to just kind of bulldoze into the clinch, and then it looks like she really doesn't know what to do. Unless she's figured that out, I think she loses this fight. She does look on her Instagram like she's in pretty good shape, like she's slimmed down and stuff, so maybe she out-cardios her, but it should be a Joselyne fight.
Yeah, I agree. The safety parlay, first leg I knew immediately. I knew weeks ago. And then I was waiting for the props to drop because I was like, I'm probably going to do the over 2.5 in this fight. Ultimately, I did not. I did bet that, but that's not in the safety parlay. And I don't know why I didn't. I just had like this weird, like, I don't know, man, a random, this could be one of those random 2.5s where Joselyne just beats the shit out of Chelsea Chandler and all of a sudden it gets dicey. But I stayed away from it in the safety parlay. I did bet on it. If we're looking at DraftKings fantasy scoring, this is wide. Joselyne Edwards is not worth $9,000. If you don't know how that works, you basically get a salary of $50,000. You have to draft 6 fighters with that $50,000 budget, and then you compete that lineup against other people. Exact same thing as fantasy football and other sports. I'm not spending $9,000 on Joselyne Edwards, who likely wins, but isn't going to win with a ton of takedowns, isn't going to win by finish. So we're not going to do that in DraftKings Fantasy. If you do want to check out every single pick, bet, and tool that we offer, they're available right now on the website, and not just for this card. We have bets for the future. Jacob has had UFC 315 bets on the board for a while, and you just did what's that wild Ajabirzaban? What's the card?
I don't know.
Like UFC Baki or some shit. Baku. Well, you just threw a bet up in there for that. Anyway, check out every single pick, bet, and tool that we have to offer right now at WeWantPicks.com. Just click Become a Member at the top.